Hello, this is Danielle Gaudet,
Courtney Linda.
Linda Yunjin.
and you are listening to the For a New Humanity podcast on Earth Management TV. Today's topic is managing the Earth.
This topic is essentially the essence of what we share, and it's why the Earth Management TV channel on YouTube and this podcast exist.
I think
Yeah.
it's an interesting thought that the earth can be managed because when we think of managing something, we typically think businesses are managed, relationships are managed, emotions are managed, and stress is managed. But it's radical, I think, and different to think that something so big as the earth that our minds can't really comprehend can be also managed.
Mm. Yeah. And I feel like we have to be a little careful and make sure to clarify what we're talking about, because from some perspective, it can look like an arrogant statement or, sort of the history has been people trying to control the earth and own the land, own things that are not really, we cannot be owned. And then when they do that, it causes fighting and warring, and it also causes a lot of, destruction to the planet. So we're not talking about that. This kind of management is not related to that sort of owning and controlling. But at the same time, this notion of managing that we're talking about here is related to an ownership concept. It's more like in the individual mind and heart to think, yeah, just like an owner of a business, how they would care about their business. Or if you have management of, you're going to want to manage your emotions or your mind, you're going to really care about that and be sincere about it. It's about awakening that mindset. That management mindset is one of really being responsible and realizing we can take that responsibility for the earth.
Right. And I know, where we are today, we might feel like the problems are just too big. We can't do anything about it. I know I felt this before. We might step back or feel like we just have no control. There's nothing we can actually do, or maybe we hope somebody else is going to fix it for us. But earth management is the concept that we are responsible and our actions do impact the earth, even on an individual level. So it's an active way to view the earth and the trajectory it's heading in rather than a passive one. It's a proactive way to respond to the global problems we're having now, because that's what a manager would do. They would take control and do what they can to help save what they love or what they're in charge of.
Right, exactly.
I really like that comment that you just said, Courtney, because it is true that when someone thinks of themselves as a manager of something, they really try to do things out of love and care for that thing that they're managing. But I feel that the way that we treat the earth right now is that, oh, the earth is just there, and no matter what we do to it, it's going to be just there, and we take it for granted. And because we take it for granted, we just use its resources, use, and then throw our hands in the air and give the power and ownership to these policymakers and people in power and people higher than us. So somebody else take the responsibility, and I'm just going to take. So, and then if you think about it, we kind of give that power to these policymakers and bigger companies who seem like they have more power than us. But the question is, do they necessarily have a sense of ownership mentality that comes out of love for the earth? And I would like to argue that maybe they do have ownership mentality, but a mentality that comes out of entitlement or comes out of control and comes out of, I claim this and want to use it for my personal company or my personal gain or just my people. But the ownership and this kind of management mentality that we're talking about in relation to the earth is one out of love and true care for something, not using it for my personal benefit.
Right. And there is a ton of that. And I mean, it breaks my heart a little bit, but there are also nonprofits and companies who are out there that really do care. They're cropping up everywhere. It's becoming more and more, accessible to everybody. What are we going to do to take care of the earth? And we definitely want to support those companies. I think we're just also talking about on an individual level, we can hold a sense of responsibility, and that sense is going to make us take different actions. So you don't be part of those nonprofits, contribute to them in any way that you can, whether it's volunteering or money, but also just be taking and be aware of those actions on an individual level too.
Yeah. And I think that's why we're talking about this now. And that's why we're trying to raise so much awareness about the earth and the concept of earth management, because we've really come to a sort of pivotal moment in our existence that individuals get to realize how important they are. Like, as you said earlier, Linda, like we gave the power to policymakers, companies, leaders, political people in politics. And it's, and then we got despair, feeling like it was a lot of power and greed and not taking care of the earth in a loving way. But so now I think it's time for the individual to take their power back. And this is the earth manager recognizing like, oh, I can be a manager by claiming, wait, this is my planet. And I can participate in it. And I need to, like, the earth needs my help at this time. So, I might be managing my family or things that are close to me, but we can expand our scope of awareness now and be like, but I also need to participate in managing this earth because it desperately needs me to do that right now. And it's really like a call for all individuals to sort of awaken that mind inside of an earth manager.
And I think the earth, in many ways, in different forms, is showing us signs that we do need to expand that mindset right now more than ever. I think if we really look out there, what's happening, the earth is really showing us those signs that we really should kind of have some awareness to take. But I also just want to say that coming out of the pandemic, a lot of people are talking about a paradigm shift, that the pandemic marked the end of an older era and like the start of a new era where there's new rules and new expectations and new lifestyle and new ways of thinking. And I want to say that along with that, something that came about that's a little bit newer is that more than ever now, individuals have power and influence than ever before. I would say before, in the old paradigm, companies, policymakers had more information. And because they had more information than us, they had more power, they had more knowledge, they had more access to things that gave them ways to control the narrative of society without the individuals knowing much. But with the rise of internet and social media and all the AI technology that we have now, individuals have more access to information now more than ever. And along with that information comes more power, more knowledge, more of a voice, more of a platform where we can voice our opinions, voice our desires, voice our concern and dissent that these companies can no longer ignore because we are the people who consume their product. We're the ones who drive their business. So now companies are kind of in a strange place where they kind of have to listen to the individuals and the individual voices. So I think that's a very unique point in our history where we can voice these things and we all have a platform to say these things. So with that, I think that's why it's more than ever important for individuals to take on this mindset of managing the earth because the earth is ready for this. And we have a way to do it now. Before we didn't, but we have a way to do it now. So we are living in an era where we as individuals can make choices and actions that matter more and have more of an influence and direct relation to the outcome, the present moment, and also the outcome and future of the earth.
Yeah, that's really powerful just thinking about it. And I'm glad you used the word mindset because I think it really goes beyond just understanding something. It's awakening a sense of responsibility. And that speaks to our level of consciousness. Because before it seemed like nobody wanted to take responsibility. We were kind of waiting for somebody else. But if you feel like inside yourself a desperate mind or a desire that you want to make a difference, that you really care about the earth, that actually indicates a higher level of consciousness to take that responsibility on. So it's really about taking actions out of feeling like it's the right thing to do over thinking or knowing it's the right thing to do because somebody told you or ordered you to do, or it's the right thing to do. It's that feeling or knowing this is what I want to do. This is what feels good. It feels in alignment with who I want to be.
Yeah, because I feel like when things come down into that feeling place, I'm like out of that mental place or what someone said is the right thing to do, or I think I'm supposed to. But when we really feel it inside, we naturally become inspired. We take it more seriously. We're more passionate about it. And then we want to take action. It just kind of follows. It follows when we feel it. So that's where we start to really like get involved and we start to look around and see like, what can I do? But I also want to say, because I feel like whenever we start to talk about that part, like really feeling it and taking action, because I feel like this has happened to me, it can get really overwhelming. I know I've been there, just kind of pinned down by overwhelm of the whole thing. Like, I don't know where to start. So like, I'm just going to go take a nap or something. Like it's too much. There's so much need and it's so much bigger than me. So I really want to say for anyone who's listening to what we're trying to say here today, that it's understandable to get overwhelmed, but our message is really like, we can start really small. You know, this concept of being an earth manager is just simply each day sort of asking the question, like, if this is important to me and if I really recognize my role here, like what I can do, then what would I like to do today? Or how could I do something a little bit more today than I did yesterday? You know, and we talk a lot about this. We have on the podcast and we do in Earth Management TV. So there's so many options out there, but rather than getting overwhelmed by the options, just taking it one small step at a time, one small choice at a time each day. I mean, just imagine if more and more and more people were doing that, if like the critical mass of humans were doing that each day, you know, we're all going to feel different ideas and all those little tiny actions are going to accumulate to really something beautiful that we can build together.
Yeah.
Someone once said to me, a way to think about our relationship with the earth that kind of gave me a that's interesting like kind of moment. So I just wanted to share that with you all listening to this podcast too, in hopes that maybe that's interesting will be sparked in your brain as well. So this person said, it's easy or common for us to think about this idea that we love the earth, like human beings love the earth. But that relationship changes the dynamic a little bit when we have the awareness beyond that, that not only do I love the earth, but the earth also loves me back. So when we know that there's like a two-way relationship going on here, then we automatically take on this more like sense of trust and responsibility to take care of that relationship. And then if I try to compare that with like a relationship in just normal life, like if I love you and it's just I love you, but you don't really care about me, then there's kind of like a disconnect, right? Like, yeah, I have some joy in loving you, but then I feel kind of sad because there's no like energy coming back and forth. But on the other hand, if I love you and I know you love me, now there's I love you, you love me, back and forth energy going. So now I feel kind of like, oh, I need to take care of this. Like, oh, this is something very special. This is something very sacred. So how about we think about the earth and us like that too? Not only do we love the earth, but the earth loves us back. So now there's like this dynamic, like symbiotic kind of trust going back and forth, which might help us feel a little bit more connected to the earth. Because like Danielle said, it could be very overwhelming. The earth is so big. I feel like I can't really like touch it. Like it's not as tangible as like literally somebody next to me that I can see, smell, and feel. But if I have this awareness, this expanded consciousness that, yes, you know, like I know that I love the earth, but I also can feel that the earth loves me, then maybe that could inspire us to take a little bit more ownership action, a little bit more kind of like embracing mentality and this manager mentality that we're talking about towards the earth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's really touching.
Yeah. So if you guys like what we're talking about here, if some of it resonates or you're curious, you want to dive a little bit deeper, we want to invite you today to check out Earth Management TV on YouTube. We try to throw out a lot of good energy on there. We offer a lot of like meditations. We offer a lot of group meditation energy and healing to the earth, as well as some sustainability tips you can take as the individual to be an earth manager. So we would love for you to be a part of the conversation there. So check us out on the YouTube channel.
Yes, please come visit us there. You can see all of our faces. And we love to hear your comments.
Yeah, make sure you subscribe, you like, and you comment on the videos. If you see some topics that you'd like us to talk about that's not already there, we're more than open and actually want that kind of suggestion. So please feel free to suggest any ideas to help us expand our consciousness and show a little bit more love for the earth.
Yes.
Yeah.
I second that. Yes. So thank you so much for listening to this episode. We hope it sparked a little inspiration in you to take on the mind of manager of the earth. Our next episode is going to be about consciousness. Does it really matter? So we'll talk about the importance, the effect, the role of consciousness in human life. We'll also talk about something called the Maharishi effect, which really demonstrates the power of collective consciousness.
Exciting.
Yeah. So we'll hope to see you all there.
Yeah, thank you
Bye.
so much for listening. This is always fun.